We're here at Paradise Campground, Willamette National Forest here in Central Oregon. Let's go check out the campsites. Here is campsite number 1, Paradise Campground, Willamette National Forest, Central Oregon. Got a nice long driveway. One of the cool things about this campground is you're up against National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River, candidly one of the most beautiful rivers in the entire state of Oregon, so this is a money location. You've got your picnic table, you got your fire pit, and look at that. That is gorgeous. My first time over here, and I'm at the first site. I'm already falling in love with Paradise Campground. Look at the views of Paradise Campground. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. That right there is National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at that. A river runs through it, my friend. Absolutely spectacular. You got a ton of places you can put your tent. You can put your tent straight ahead here. I gotta say, I'm already like falling in love with this campground. I feel like this is a hidden gem. Maybe in my own ignorance, I'd never heard of it, but I am digging this. I'm gonna come around here and take a look the other direction, because why not? Oh, look at that, my friend. So you either put your tent right over there or right here. And here's your picnic table fire pit. You got that mossy, green, mystical, old-growth forest thing going on, which gives it a special feel. Paved driveway with these little posts. High-quality picnic table. But the piece de resistance, of course, is your view overlooking McKenzie River. This is a really high-quality site, Site 1. Just be careful that at night you don't get confused and walk the wrong way, because you could walk into the river. Make sure you have flashlights. Oh man, this is incredible. I gotta say, this is just the first campsite. I'm already falling in love with Paradise Campground, aptly named. Let's continue along. That was Site 1. Very legit. I would definitely stay at 1. 1 is a destination site. That is what camping is all about, in my humble opinion. 1 is worth, waking up early in the morning and trying to book it on recreation.gov. 1 is legend. And here is 2. 2 is more of an inner. So it's on the inner forest, which is also the highway side. We're a little down below the highway, so we're not right up against highway, but there's still a minor amount of echo noise. Here's your picnic table, fire pit. Now compare 2 to what we just looked at 1. Would you rather be up against the river, or would you rather be here? This is a bit claustrophobic. A little bit of a creek running down there, so you do have your own water access. I don't want to be too negative. That's neat, but this is kind of a mess. There's really only one place to put your tent, and that is straight ahead. You got to put your tent right there, because there's the only flat area big enough for a tent. Picnic table, fire pit. This is a very low square footage site, kind of claustrophobic, kind of what I call dirty forest. Not a fan, especially after seeing 1. You could have put your tent on either side up against the river. 1 is legend. That's like A+ category. 2, not so great. Here's 3. Again, there's our road. At least this is on the riverside. Good shade, picnic table, fire pit. Probably put your tent straight ahead to the right of the fire pit. We just kind of pan up to give you the epicosity of these awesome trees. Old Growth National Forest, Wonderland, Willamette National Forest. So you park here, picnic table, fire pit, tent straight ahead. Could put it there too. So you got 2 places you could put it. I guess you could put it around here too. So you got multiple places. You got 3 places you could put it. And let's come up here and take a gander at our friend, National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. These river shoreline ones are really spectacular. And look at that, my friend. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that's beautiful. You see right here, you got a little side trail. Let me come around here so it's not obscured. You got a side trail to the edge of 1. So 1's there, 3's here. If you grab 1 and 3 together, now you are in business, my friend. You take over this entire swath of shoreline of National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. So I'm digging that. That's a beautiful view. Looks like this is probably a shoreline to the next one over there. We'll keep walking here. And yeah, this is to the next one. So far, 1 and 3 epic, 2 not so much. Here's 4. It's an inner, it's not on the McKenzie side, so I'm already a little skeptical, but we'll give it a fair shake. Nice long driveway. Ooh, I think this is actually gonna be decent. That's why we keep an open mind. Park here. Now, we're not up against National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River, which 1 and 3 were so epic, I don't know why you wouldn't want to be there no matter what. But to be fair, this is up against a creek, and this is a lot better space than 2 was. Picnic table, fire pit. Obviously put your tent right there. It's kind of the only place you can put it. And you're overlooking this little creek section, so this is pretty. I'm digging this. Look at that. It's got a beautiful green color to it, very buggy. So you do this in like July, almost guaranteed this is mosquito ground zero. So you got to be careful. I wouldn't come here like mid-July. You'll be eaten alive, candidly, but still pretty. This to me is a shoulder season play. If you want to be next to a babbling creek, this is pretty legit. Site 4. 4 is better than 2 as far as the inners. Obviously, I think 1 and 3 are like A-level campsites, like top tier. So keep going along. That was numero 4. And we're coming up to 5. There's our campground road. There's our main signage. So here's 5. Optimistically, it's on the McKenzie Riverside, and I think I already got a preview with my eyes that this is also going to be shoreline. Picnic table, fire pit. Here's where you park. Got some posts. Here you really only have one spot to put your tent, and that's straight ahead, which is serviceable. Put your tent right here. But most importantly, you do have your own shoreline access. You can go either way. I'm gonna go this way. Please be kind, spider webs. And look at this. We are back up to this incredible shoreline of McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River. Look at that, that is gorgeous. Let me pan over here. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I love that little white rip in the middle there. I don't know if there's some rocks in there, but something's causing it to create some white ripples. That's beautiful. I will say you can tell that this seems to be the end of the line for this little section. So 1, 3, and 5, you can see straight ahead the shoreline here overlooking McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River. 1, 3, and 5 are all overlooking McKenzie River. Pretty darn epic. So 5 is great as well. 1, 3, and 5 are all legend. I don't think you can go wrong if you get any one of these 3. I felt like 1 was probably my favorite because it was the first one. There was nothing on one side of it. And then 3, and then 5. So all legit, all epic, all world class. I don't think you can go, if you get 1, 3, or 5 here at Paradise Campground, you are winning at life. That's my humble opinion. And let's continue along. Here is 6, also on McKenzie River. Anytime they're on the McKenzie River shoreline side, I get excited. See if it's got a little side trail. Nice long driveway, geez. Might be the best driveway so far, flattest and well paved and pretty deep. Picnic table fire pit. Oh, this is great. This 6 is great too. I'm digging 6. This is awesome. Picnic table fire pit. Probably put my tent right over there on the left. And love these. Let me stop here, look up. These trees are pretty legit. Got some moss on them. You got a clear shot right up here to shoreline overlooking McKenzie River, National Wild Scenic River. And look at this, my friend. This is awesome. This is awesome. Look at this river. Here we're looking right ahead at those white rips that I mentioned over at 5. Oh, this is beautiful. 6 is legend. 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all legend. This is a world-class campground. I gotta say, this is a very high-quality campground. I haven't heard much about it. It could just be me, but I think it's maybe off the beaten path, maybe off the radar campground. Oh man, I'm loving this. Whitecap's beautiful. River beautiful. Oh, and it looks like a shoreline continues. That's probably on to the next site, so we got more to come. Oh man. I gotta say, 6 is legend. This is a beautiful campsite. Picnic table, fire pit. Oh, I like 6 better than 5 intuitively. I'm gonna have to review to decide how I'd rank these 4, but it's splitting hairs. 1, 3, 5, and 6, all legend. Legend with a capital L. Like as good of a river shoreline as you're gonna find. So I'm digging this campground. You know, embarrassed to say I never really heard of this campground. I was driving by. I didn't do any pre-research, so I'm looking at all this for the first time, and I'm falling in love with this campground. Like this is jumping to my top tier. I didn't even know about it. It makes me wonder how many other campgrounds around here I've never heard of. I did a lot of research. I don't know how this fell through my radar, but it did. Here's 7. Going down the campground road. Oh, look at this. Now this is interesting, my friend. This has got like a vast square footage feel. A lot of shade. Pretty epic. Interesting. And this is like legend. This is really well built out. This is epic. This is site 7. And picnic table, fire pit. I mean, this is like, look at that table right there. Like, that is cool. That is cool. Look at that. That is really cool. I'm digging it. Like, this has a weird built out feel to it. Like, I don't know if this is like the camp host or what, but I mean, this infrastructure here, this is giving me camp host vibes, the yellow thing over there. So I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but this is definitely giving me camp host vibes. Typically, you don't have this kind of infrastructure to site unless this is where the camp host stays, but I'll have to check. And let's come down here to our shoreline access from our friend Campsite 7. And look at this, my friend. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Oh man, here's our side trail from 6, which we just did. I could tell from 6 that 7 was gonna be shoreline too, and yes it is. Look at this. National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'll bet you this is the camp host site, which is cool. That's a great site for a camp host. I mean, that would make being a camp host fun. That is a nice site. That is 7. And let's continue along. I have absolutely no idea how many campsites are here because I didn't research it ahead of time, but I don't think there's that many. Here's our forest road. Here's site 8. Ooh, this is got a grandiose feel as far as square footage. A nice swath of Willamette National Forest. Picnic table, fire pit, pretty epic. Let me stop here and just pan up. You can get the grandiosity of this epicosity of the trees. A lot of osities there. And I could put probably my tent right there is what I'd do. Or you can put it straight ahead. Come over here. I will say if 7's the host, big asterisk, then you got all the back of the infrastructure stuff right there. So 7 would be right there. But still, this is gorgeous. You can also put your tent actually right there. Might even be a better spot. Shaded a little bit closer to the river. A little bit more of that ambient sound, ambiance. And we'll come up here. And 8 also has magical shoreline access. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Oh, that is beautiful. See this little side trail takes you over to 7, which I suspect is the camp host. So you'll be neighboring the camp host, but that's okay. And there you are right there. Campsite 8. So we'll walk back down. Again, there's 7 right there, but you do have some pretty good blockage of line of sight. 8's really high quality. This is a big area. Could put your tent there. You could put your tent there. Put your tent to the right, behind and to the right of the picnic table. You got fire pit. 8's really spacious. 8's really high quality. So I would say the shoreline on 8 isn't as epic as maybe 1, 3, 5, 6, but the actual site itself is way bigger. So the shaded square footage is better than all those, but the shoreline is a little less. So different strokes, different folks. If you want a bigger campsite and a little less shoreline, I'd go 8. If you are all about the river shoreline, then probably go 1, 3, 5, or 6. So here is 9 and 10. There's our forest road. Here's 9. You got your driveway. Ignore these black things. I think this is just a seasonal shift to store something somewhere. I'm sure those will be gone. There's 10 just for lot lines. Here's 9. I'll walk around here. And high quality picnic table fire pit. It's looking to me like we're also going to have shoreline access over here. Paradise Campground is catapulting to my top tier campgrounds in Central Oregon. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know how I never heard of this place before. You can go this way and your little access point. Can't really get down to the river, but you got a good view right here. Very pretty, a lot of moss, geez. Moss City. Or you can come up over here. Now this is getting closer to the domain of 10, so I don't know if this is a shared access or this is actually 10 side, but coming here, that's definitely part of 10. So this is kind of the domain of 10, I'm gonna say. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is 10 zone, but coming back here, I would say, looking back at our 9 and our picnic table, this is definitely your primary access point for 9. And I mean, if you like moss, this is as mossy as it gets. Look at this. Pretty darn epic. Beautiful. Very mossy. So, see, this kind of like a fishbone. 2 of them kind of jutting out from the same spot. 10, here's your campground road. Here's our parking, very high quality, flat paved parking. Picnic table, fire pit straight ahead. You've got 9 over there, but there's that big tree blocking the lot lines. Probably put a picnic table over here on the left. Right here is the natural spot. Probably the only spot realistically. And let's go check out our shoreline access. 9 and 10 are decent. I wouldn't say they're as good as 1, 3, 5, 6, or 8. But they'd also be great as a tandem. If you got 9 and 10 together, now you are in business. A great group play. Come up here. We are going to have shoreline access to National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. And look at this, my friend. There is our view. Look down and look upstream at our close, trusty friend, McKenzie River. Yeah, this is pretty legit. Right there might be the best view. Looking straight down right when you get up here. Oh, this is beautiful. So 9 and 10 are a kind of a fishbone duo. So great as a group play if you grab both of them. Not as good of quality as 1, 3, 5, 6, or 8 in my humble opinion. I think those 5 are the top 5. 9 and 10 are definitely high quality, definitely worth booking. So I'm not saying they're not worth grabbing, but they're just, you know, the problem with Paradise Campground is that it's got an embarrassment of riches. It's got too many good choices. So, you know, even the 5th, 6th, 7th best site here is still better than the number 1 site at a lot of other campgrounds. So it's a good problem to have if you're Paradise Campground. You just have too many high quality sites. So let's continue along. Here's 11. It says we haven't had an inner in a while, so this probably isn't going to be that great. We do have a creek on this side, so maybe there's not a bad site here, except 2 was not very good, keeping it real. But here's 11. You got your driveway, picnic table, fire pit, pretty claustrophobic site, low square footage. I mean, after the ones I just showed you, would you want to be over here? I think that's a no. Picnic table, fire pit, you have to literally put your tent right there. This is as claustrophobic as it gets. There's no creek. So I'm going to say actually 11 is now the worst one I've seen. It's totally claustrophobic. There's one spot to put your tent and you're just trapped. Like it's like a cell. Like you're just trapped. 11 is no good. Keeping it real. Let me look back again. I mean, look at that. After the ones I just showed you up against the river and how spacious like 8 was and 7 was, although I think it's the camp host, would you want to be in that tiny little trapped, landlocked site? I think not. Okay, so I'll stop ragging on 11, but avoid 11. I wouldn't even come if it was 11. Here's 12 and 13. Signs are very close together. Another fishbone situation. They're like another 9 and 10, it appears. Also, there's 14 across the way, but we'll do these numerically. Here's 12. You drive, park right here. Well-paved, flat, good size parking. Picnic table straight ahead. Let's see where you'd want to put your tent. First of all, the fire pit's right there, just past the picnic table. Probably put your tent straight ahead in this flat spot right here. This is really the main spot. I mean, you could shade it over there, over here, over there, but get the idea. That's your tent zone. Now we're on our side at Shoreline Trail to McKenzie River. And lo and behold, my friend, we got another little white rip section right here, very similar to that last one. That's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. We got beautiful National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. Look at that. Gorgeous. Now come over here and look downstream. Look at that. That is beautiful, my friend. So that was 12. Very high quality, good spacing, nice shoreline access. Put your tent again right here in this central location. You got a picnic table, fire pit. So 12 is great too, man. This is actually it's a good problem to have. I'm having trouble even deciding what the best sites are because there's so many high quality sites. Pretty much every single one of them on the line up against National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River is absolute money. Like if you got any one of these, you'd be having a great experience. Situate your chairs up there and just overlook the river for all day. And I think you'd be one happy camper, no pun intended. So here's our forest road. We'll do 14 a minute. Here's 13. Here's our parking. Here's our picnic table. Put your tent straight ahead is at least one possibility. Picnic table, fire pit. You could put the tent to the right of the fire pit. That's a little cramped. Probably put my tent right here. And let's go check out your shoreline access. I love how each one of these has its like own like well manicured high quality side trail. Ooh, actually, maybe put your tent over right here. I didn't see this earlier. Put your tent right there. That's pretty cool. Kind of offset it a little bit. Get a little bit more of that sound from McKenzie River that helps you sleep at night. And look at this very high quality side trail to the shoreline of McKenzie River. I'm really starting to see why this is called Paradise Campground. This is paradise. This is aptly named. And come up here. Look at that. Every one of these is like a money shot, like a dream money shot of McKenzie River. I didn't even know this campground existed. I am falling in love. I think the best spot right here is right there. Look at that. Oh man. I'm falling in love with Paradise Campground. I mean, this is truly aptly named. So let's walk back from site 13. I mean, every one of these against McKenzie River is legend. Paradise Campground's biggest problem is there's too many high quality sites. Although, let's be real, there's no such thing. I put my tent right here. There's basically, if you can get a map of Paradise Campground, every single one of them up against the river is legit. Like, there's not a single bad one in the cluster. Just depends if you value maximum shoreline square footage or maximum campsite square footage or tent placement or shade. You know, based on that rank order priority, you might categorize them a little differently, but every single one of them is legend. I mean, I don't think any one of them is not a destination worth a campsite. Here's 14, another inner. You already know what I'm gonna say about this. Park here, come over here, picnic table, fire pit. This isn't as bad as 2 or 11. 11 was definitely the worst of this whole place so far. 2 was third worst. This might be third worst. Probably put your tent right here because I think it's the only spot, or I guess you could put it back over there. But you just got your fire pit and picnic table. There's no feature. You're just kind of in what I call dirty forest. You're like so close yet so far. Look at over there. 13 and 12, they're up against the river. They're having the time of their life. You're over here in like a punishment timeout campsite, just sitting in the middle of a generic dirty forest, thinking that I came all the way to Paradise Campground and I'm just mere feet away from legend joy. So I probably wouldn't do 14 or 11 or 2. Scratch that. I definitely wouldn't do 14, 11 or 2. Those are like so close yet so far, and I call some of the inner campgrounds, like the inner loop campgrounds where you're away from the feature of the draw to be there to begin with, I call that camping in the dirt. Like, what's the point? It doesn't make sense to get all ready and get all your gear and drive all the way out here and then just like get a horrible campsite. I don't see the point. Here's 15, there's 16, looks like a restroom over there. Do these sequentially. 15, up against the river, McKenzie River. Picnic table, fire pit, nice and flat. If you got members of your party that need flatness, 15 might be the best so far. This is as flat as it gets, really. You can tell that 13's over there, but it's pretty good breakage, so not much of an issue. You could put your tent right here, straight ahead, or I think this is like 13 to our right. I think you could probably put your tent up here. Yeah, you could put your tent straight ahead right here if you really wanted to. Now, bear in mind, right straight ahead, this is like a side path to 13, and they might put their tent right there. So they put their tent here and you put your tent here. Now you're kind of encroaching on the privacy component, so that's just something to factor in for 15. But here is our side trail to McKenzie River, and I think this will be a familiar theme. This has been done before, and look at that, McKenzie River. Absolutely spectacular, epic, legendary. Glowing green, mossy rocks and trees, but rocks particularly. And the beautiful McKenzie River. Got a little bit of a tree here, kind of giving a little perspective, adding some character. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. You got a side trail here, making me think that there's more shoreline to come, but we'll keep walking this way for now. Okay, so that was 15, one of the flatter ones here. Here is 16. It's an inner right next to the restroom. If restroom proximity is important to you, then 16 is one of the leading candidates. It's an inner, so it's not up against the feature. You got a flat, nice high quality flat, parking, picnic table, fire pit. This again is just kind of in a central landlocked dirty forest zone. You don't really have a feature. You do have the restroom right here with the little side trail, but see, to me that's a negative as far as privacy, because you hear people going to the bathroom all day and night. You could be asleep over here, like there's not many places to put your tent. You could put it to the left of the fire pit, or you can put it right here. And then while you're in your tent, like 2 a.m, you hear somebody go to the bathroom, it wakes you up. So it's like, you got the negative side of being right next to that. You got no feature, just kind of in a dirty section of forest. Pan up and show you the towering trees. So I would not do 16. Consistent theme at a lot of campgrounds is the outer loop, in this case up against McKenzie River, are like legend. And then the inner loop are just kind of like wah wah. It's like if all of the McKenzie River shoreline outer loop ones are taken, but you still want to be in the area, the inner loop ones are like the consolation prize, just so you have like a base camp to go hiking or something. That works, but it's just not a destination site. Here's 17, got a water spigot. This one looks like a doubler by virtue of the fact that there's 2 picnic tables and 2 parking spots. Look at me, call me Sherlock Holmes. You got a parking spot there, you got a parking spot there, and here's our 2 picnic tables. Definitely gonna have some shoreline play here. You can put a tent there, you can put a tent there. Probably wanna shade it more to the river just for the noise, the sound. So picnic table, fire pit, picnic table. And yeah, I'd put my tents over here. You could put one right there between these trees in front of them, or actually over here is better spots. Maybe straight ahead. Yeah, several good spots. This looks, oh my gosh. Hold the phone. This actually has walk-in shoreline access to McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River. Look at this. This is crazy. You actually have a little beach and you could walk right in. I certainly wouldn't recommend doing that because it's dangerous AF, but still, look at this. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, look at this. I didn't even know such a thing existed. Look at this. This is beautiful. This is incredible McKenzie River. You got the glowing green moss of Willamette National Forest. You got the raging, roaring, whitecap McKenzie River going on by. And then look at this. You got this high quality beach. Like you could walk right into the water if so inclined. Oh man, this is gorgeous. And I'd probably put my tent over here. There's some rocks right there, so you can move those, or you'd probably put your tent just straight ahead. So imagine if your tent was right there, open up your tent in the morning, come over here, and oh hello, it's my own private shoreline, my own beach. This is epic, my friend. This is site 17 at Paradise Campground, and this is the kind of site that you write down and you remember, and you look for it every year, and if you can ever snag it, you snag it and you come here. Because this is epic. You can bring your chairs, your Cabela's chairs, whatever you got down here, sit on the beach, and just basically have your own McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River, shoreline exposure access. This is the dominion of Campsite 17, so this is your zone, and you can just sit here and have your own little swath of it for a couple days, couple nights, whatever it is, however long you'd like to camp, right here. My gosh, this, my friend, absolutely spectacular. We got 19 and 20. 20, I can already tell you, doesn't look very good. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's 19. It's a shoreline one. Oh, 19 is legend. Look at this. 19 is beautiful. It's nice and flat if you got members of your party that don't want a lot of inclines. It's well spaced as far as privacy. 20 is the only one, and it's over there. Actually, 19 is legend. This is great. Picnic table, fire pit. You can put your tent straight over there or down here. Because of the way this place is situated, you got like no neighbors really. I mean, this is just your own private oasis. You come down here and you got your own shoreline access, private access to National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. Look at this. Look at this. You got your own beach right here. You've got your own beach from campsite 19 directly to National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. Look at that. And bring your chairs down here and just hang out here all day. This is epic. Oh my gosh, look at this exposure. Look at this exposure. I will say that there's this side trail, so other campsites might come to your beach right here. Just FYI, also right over here is a little side trail between 17 and 20 that's more communal that also brings you to this beach. So I would say this beach is not the strict domain of 19, to be clear. 19's closest to it, but there's a side trail between 17 and 19 and another side trail coming this way. So I think there's multiple campsites that can come enjoy this beach. Unlike campsite 17, where in my opinion, the beach at 17 was the domain of 17 only. So I would still pick 17 over 19, but 19 is legend. You know, when I started doing these and I was like at 1, 3, 5, 6, I assumed those were gonna be the best ones because that's normally how it works. But now that I've gotten to 17 and 19, Paradise Campground might have the highest ratio of high quality campsites of any campground I've ever been to, because more than half are like tier 1, A, AA plus level campsites. Really everything on the outer, which is the majority. So I'm blown away by Paradise Campground. This is definitely going to be one of my favorites moving forward. I will absolutely be camping here, not even a question. Here's our campground road. Here's 20. This is an inner right next to the bathroom. I think this is going to be not very good. A lot like 16 on the other side of it. Yeah, this is not great. Picnic table, fire pit, park here. You got the restroom there. Why would you want to be there with the road snaking around you when you can be up at 19 against the river? I don't think any sane person would pick that. Here is campsite 21. I'll tell you, here's a sign. It says 24 to 42 that way, 43 to 64 this way. I'm gonna try to do all the campsites sequentially, so I'm gonna keep going. Here's 21. This one looks legend too. Oh my gosh, Paradise Campground is ridiculous. I don't mean to be so repetitive. I'm blown away by how awesome this campground is. Like, this is jump into my top 5, maybe like top tier campgrounds in Oregon. This is amazing. Put your tent straight ahead over there on the left, picnic table, fire pit, or you can put over there on the right. Let's walk down and take a look. Obviously just sitting from your picnic table like, hey, I'm just sitting here having lunch, looking over at McKenzie River, pretty epic. And you got a lot of shoreline play. There's a trail that takes you to the beach on the other side of 19, so you can go there. You got this section, and then you can, or if you just want to stay here, you can situate your chairs right here and just enjoy beautiful McKenzie River. Look at that. So this is site 21. This is another one of these legend sites. This 17, 19, 21 is definitely one of the best zones here at Paradise Campground. I thought like 1, 3, 5, 6 were really high quality, and then 7, I think the camp host, and then 8 was decent. You had the wishbones of 9 and 10 and 12 and 13. Those weren't nearly as good as 17, 19, and 21, keeping it real. So in fact, I actually think the more I'm reflecting as I'm walking, that I think 17, 19, 21 is my favorite section of this campground so far. Here's 22, and we're gonna look down the road there. So we got a lot more to go. I mean, there's 60 some odd. Here's 22, you drive here and loving all these trees. This is epic. There's our picnic table, our fire pit, and we'll walk over here This is gorgeous. The glowing green of this moss on Willamette National Forest, all these trees, juxtaposed to the color of this McKenzie River is absolutely spectacular. I mean, I can't get enough of this. I'm in sensory overload mode right now. This is ridiculous. And look at that. Absolutely spectacular. The beautiful McKenzie River. '22 is amazing. I mean, little character things like this little tree in the middle kind of sets the mood for this whole area. You got this mossy Willamette National Forest, and then you got this absolutely incredible section of National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. I mean, this is ridiculous, ridiculous. Glowing green, mossy rocks, and this river. Like, this is nuts. This is absolutely beautiful. I think it's clear I'm becoming a super fan of this zone. Kind of a random observation as I look at just this glowing green tree rainforest feeling. I mean, I'm actually going to Olympic National Park later this summer, and I don't know if it's going to be any prettier than Paradise Campground here in Willamette National Forest. Here in Willamette National Forest is only an hour and a half from where I live. Olympic National Forest is like 6 to 8 hours. So this might be just as good as Olympic National Forest. That's what I'm wondering. I'll find out later this summer when I go to Olympic National Park, but this is like a little swath of Olympic National Park, a little swath of rainforest just cut and smacked down right in the middle of Willamette National Forest in Central Oregon. I think, you know, maybe it's just me. I had never heard of this campground. Maybe everybody knows about it and this is like really popular and I'm just, my head was in the sand, in the clouds, but this is legit. Here's our water pump and here's 23. And park here. Kind of interesting, you got your shoreline access on this side, and then you've got your campground over there, your campsite over there. So let's go down again. Here's 23 bearings. Here's our campground road, 23. Here's our nice long driveway, like unusually long driveway. Gives good privacy, so if you want like a long driveway to secure your little nook, your little niche of forest, then 23 is a good one for you. Come over here, you got your picnic table, fire pit. Again, I love that green mossy tree right there. Just like gives a Tim Burton, Dr. Seuss like vibe, like sets the mood of this area. And you can put your tent straight ahead. You can put it over there. Again, use your fire pit. I like your fire pits on the riverside. And let's come down here. Look at McKenzie River. Look at that blue-green National Wild and Scenic, raging and roaring McKenzie River. And it's particularly ferocious section right here. Look at this. The waves right here are like ridiculous. I don't know, I've been walking down this now for like over an hour and this seems like the waviest section I've seen. Look at this. Look at these waves, they're gigantic. Pretty darn awesome. Something about the flow creates a pretty epic zone right here. I will point out something about this zone is particularly wild waves creates a little bit of a mist, almost like a humid feel. So the most humid feeling I've had since I've been here, this is site 23. I love how flat this is. This is a gorgeous site. I don't mean to be a broken record, but I love this campground. Ooh, and you even have creek access on the other side. So if you just get bored of the raging river and you're like, you know what, I think I need a babbling brook, I think I need a creek, and you come over here and lo and behold, you've got your own private creek. If you got your own direct access right there. And I'm like, you know what, I think I'll have an hour or two of babbling brook time. And then you say, you know what, I think I've had my brook time, and I think I'll go back over to the river, come back over here. Kind of an interesting situation here at 23. Oh man. Yeah, there's something about the, maybe it's the topography underneath the river. I'm speculating, but this is like the wildest wave section, like raging and roaring section of this entire river so far. Like, this is epic. Oh man. Oh man. I do a lot of campground reviews. Rarely am I like blown away at this point, because I've done a lot of them, and I am absolutely falling in love. I really don't mean to be such a broken record, but I am falling in love with Paradise Campground. Like, place is ridiculous. I feel like I've seen 6, 7, 8, or 9 like dream sites that I would say that is the best site at most other campgrounds, and they're all here. Like, it keeps getting better. I saw 17, I was like, that's crazy. And I saw 19, and then I saw 21 and 22 and 23, and I'm like, it just keeps getting better. Like, this is nuts. Here's a little side access, so just for bearings, here's 23. There's your signage, there's your nice long driveway. 23 is a top tier one, by the way. I would do 23. And then you even have like a secondary access point right here, where you got some of these wild waves crashing. And look at this. Look at this, my friend, right there. Oh, this is so beautiful. Here is site 24. Now this is an inner. I will warn that we have gone away from the river, so these are definitely going to be not river sites, although they will be creek sites. This is the start of a new loop. So you park here and got your picnic table and fire pit. This definitely has like a rainforest mossy feel, and we are up against a creek. We're just not up against the raging, roaring McKenzie River. So this is beautiful. I mean, this is a neat little swath. Like, this has got that Dr. Seuss vibe. Picnic table, fire pit, gorgeous forest, giving you the character, the perspective. And we'll walk down over here. Again, this is 24. Yeah, so straight ahead, you can see there is a creek. Not the best access to the creek, but you do have a little creek. Yeah, you can see it and hear it. Gives you a little ambiance, a little mood setting. You do have a neighbor over there, so that's not the best lot lines. Candidly, first let me just show you the lot, and see there's your neighbor right there. That's presumably going to be 25. So, and there's even a side trail to 25. So I'm a sucker for the river. If I'm coming to Paradise Campground, I want to be up against National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River, and there was so many high quality sites up against the river that I don't know why I would ever pick one of the interloop ones, because the creek is a lot less impressive. There's a lot of creeks around, but there's only one McKenzie River. So I would definitely be on the outer loop. So this is the inner loop. I'm gonna go through these probably a little faster because they're probably higher quality, although I still want to give each one of them a fair shake. Here's 25. You got a nice long driveway. picnic table, fire pit. I think the coolest part of this section is the ambiance of the trees. It's got a rainforesty, I keep saying Dr. Seuss vibe. It's just what it makes me think of. Picnic table, fire pit. Very cool little creek right here. This is a better creek side. 25 is pretty good for a creek access. You see down there, sparkle of the creek, and it's actually even better on this side. Let me come over here. I mean, if you like a relaxing, babbling creekside campsite, 25 is legit. Look at that. That is gorgeous. So this is beautiful. As far as creeks go, 25 is the best one so far, hands down. This is the best section of creek that I have seen here at Paradise Campground. As I said, I still like McKenzie River better, but if you're a creek person, then right here, this is very high quality creek access. Look at the glowing green trees, ridiculous. And then this babbling creek right here, like this is very relaxing. If you're a Zen person, I think 25 is a Zen campsite. So that was 25. Definitely the best creek site so far. Now, this campground is divided into 3 loops. We did the first loop, 1 through 23, and that had a lot of premium McKenzie River campsites. Now we're doing, I think, the inner loop, one of the inner loops, 24 to, I think, 42 or something like that. Here's 26. This is not McKenzie, this is Creekside. So these are all gonna be more of a mood setting type feel. Like, see, I'm walking right here. Every time I come up to these, I'm impressed. Like even these ones, like look at this, the glowing green moss and just kind of all this interesting, it's definitely giving off Olympic National Park vibes. Like this is kind of a rainforest wonderland, Willamette National Forest, very eclectic, very rustic. And here's our fire pit, picnic table, and yet again, another epic creek. 25 and 26 are the best 2 for creek so far. Look at that. You pan down so you get the meandering creek through your site with all the green moss. Very zen. So I guess it depends what you're looking for. 25 and 26 are both pretty darn good as far as a ethereal rainforest with a creek running through it. Very high quality. Better than most campsites, frankly, at other campgrounds, even though comparatively I like the McKenzie loop of 1 to 23 better, all the outer ones there. Probably 8 or 10 campsites that I would pick as like my top 8 or 10. This is actually gonna be a hard one to rank them because there's so many good ones. It's like hard to even decide, but that's a good problem to have. Here's 27. This is in the inner. So I don't know if this has creek access. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the creek's behind me. Nice long driveway. Okay, so some of these are gonna be pannable. Yeah, this is part of that quad that was on the other side. Like I wanna say it was 16 and 20 that were on the other side next to the restroom. Well, this is their cousin over here in 27, kind of in this inner block. Dirty forest, no feature. I would not do 27, so I'm gonna pan 27. No bueno, no reason to do 27. Constellation camping, here's your water pump. Here's 28, 29, and 30. Bit of a cluster. Let's take a look through them numerically, sequentially. Here's 28, driveway. Oh, okay, I'm getting impressed just walking up. This creekside access is legit. Very rainforesty, feeling it, loving the vibe. Picnic table, fire pit. Put your tent on the other side of that picnic table, so that's a good spot. Now this might be the best creek one so far. You know what, I think it is. I'm gonna say that. 28 is the best creek one so far. Look at this. Look at that creek. And here's your picnic table. Well, hey, that's legit. I mean, Paradise Campground is aptly named. Even the quote unquote worst campsites that are away from McKenzie River like this are like legend. Like this is one of the nicest creek campsites I've seen. I mean, you got this meandering creek. You've got this iridescent green, you know, whatever that is. I don't think that's algae, it's some sort of plant underneath the water glowing. So you got glowing green through the water, the sun reflecting off the water. Then you got this green mossy zone of all these Dr. Seuss trees barely hanging over the creek. Like, this is ridiculously beautiful. This feels CGI, but trust me, my friend, this is real. Let me pan up and show you the epicosity of these towering trees too. I mean, this is a wonderland zone, my friend. So you got this creek, you got your picnic table, you got your fire pit. Probably put my tent over here. So I'm digging it. Let's continue to hike along. I really like this one. That was nice. That was 28. Yeah, that was 28. Now we got 29 across the way. 28 was very cool for creek. 25, 26, 28 is a good creek zone. Here's 29. This is an inner. I don't think this is going to be good. I don't think it's up against a river or a creek. I think this is camping in the dirt, dirty forest. So, yeah, put your tent there. Yeah, no bueno, I'll be honest. There's too much high quality here to settle. Picnic table, fire pit, you got a couple places to put your tent, right there. But look at this. I mean, it's pretty, but it's kind of, as I call it, dirty forest. Like, there's nothing. I mean, yeah, I'm just being honest here. I wouldn't do 29. Too many high quality sites here to settle at 29. It's consolation camping. And here's 30 across the way. This is on the creek side, so this might be another creek one, although it's hard to beat 28. That like feels like a dream. 30, park right here. It is kind of close to 28. 28 didn't feel, because of all these tree blockage, I couldn't even really sense 30 from 28, so maybe it'll be the same over here. Definitely have to put your tent right there. It's the only spot it would fit. Yeah, 30 is not as good, keeping it real. You can tell that you've got 28 over there from 30. When I was at 28, I couldn't really sense it. I don't know, maybe it's just the lot lines or maybe I missed it, but here's the fire pit. You do have a one access point, but look at that. I mean, that's an awkward access point versus over at 28, you had like a nice long shoreline. So if you're looking for creek and you're not looking for McKenzie River, 28, 25, and 26 are your three best so far. I probably wouldn't do 30, just like I wouldn't do 29 or 27. So there's a huge variety in the quality of campsites at a campground. That's why I do these reviews. So here's 31. It's an inner loop, inner site. No feature. I'm already skeptical. I don't think I'm going to like it, but we'll give it a fair shake. 31. Here is our driveway. I do like the moss and the trees. Good character. Picnic table, fire pit. Well carved here into the forest. Probably put my tent straight ahead. It's the only spot I think it fits. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do this. I mean, it's interesting. It's eclectic. It's very eclectic, very niche, but not the one I would do. When you got two water features, a river and a creek on both sides, you kind of want to be up against one of them. Kind of seems silly to have those two water features and then pick a site that isn't against either. So, you know, I went to Paradise Campground. I heard there was a river and creek, but I didn't actually see it. Not the experience I'm looking for. Here's 32 and 33. 32, nice long driveway. This might be epic creek access or not. We'll see momentarily. Good shade. I like the vibe of it. I like the way it's cut. Put your tent straight ahead. There's a couple spots you could put it right here or right there. Picnic table, fire pit. Yeah, this is creekish. I don't know if any of them are going to be 28. That was like a dream creek site. 28 might be the winner as far as this inner creek loop, but yeah, I mean, this is pretty. I would say at a lot of other campgrounds, even this right here would be a top tier campsite. It's just, there's such an embarrassment of riches here that ones like this get relegated into the middle of the pack just because there's such better sites, but not bad. I didn't hate it. If I'm looking creek, I personally liked probably, was it 28 the best so far? So comparatively, I didn't like it as much as that, but that's not bad. I'd say 32's doable. I would probably add it to the top half list, top tier list. So here's 33. It says multi-site. Over there and over here are both your parking. So you got two parking spots. You got two picnic tables. You got a big swath of Willamette National Forest. Pretty flat, a little bit of a dissension here, but overall relatively flat campsite. Digging it. Good area. It feels pretty shaded even though there's not a lot of trees. Here's your fire pit. I'm glad it's more on the creek side. I will say the creek is not the best section of creek. Like, I mean, it's pretty. Like, if you come right here, that's legit. And you get the sound, like look down here. So the creek makes you earn it a little bit. You got to come right over here to the creek edge because it's kind of a steep drop off. It gives you the sound ambiance. It's beautiful. Again, I didn't like it as much as 28, but you do have a trail over to your friend over there, the next site on this row. So this is your doubler. A lot of places you could put your 10. I mean, there's a lot of flat areas, so you could do it over there. You could do it over here. So this was a doubler, 33. Kind of an interesting one. I would much rather be at 17 up against McKenzie River. That was also a multi-doubler. Let me turn back around. I mean, it's decent. It's decent. I'm not knocking it. 33 is legit. So there's very few campsites here. There's probably only 5 or 6 so far out of the first 33 that I really thought were not good campsites. 33 is serviceable, not one of my favorites. So 33 was that one. Maybe that used to be 34 and they combined it into a multi and got rid of 34. Because here's 35, down there's 36 and 37. There is no 34. Okay, they eliminated 34 to make a multi. So that makes sense. If you look back there, I think 33 used to be 2, 33 and 34, and they were like, you know what, they're too close together. Let's just make it a multi. Probably a smart move. I appreciate it. I think that was a good move. Here's 35. So again, there's no 34. It was consolidated. And you can put your tent right over here. Picnic table fire pit. This is an inner. You're not really up against anything. I think there might be creek straight ahead, but 35 is not great. 37's over there. So not good privacy lines for 37. So yeah, 35 I would pan. Not my favorite. I'd rather be at, even on the inner loop, you want to be on the opposite side I'm on right now, like the 36 side, the other side, the outer part of the inner loop. 36 right here. I'll just show you there's 37 for lot lines. But here's 36, nice long driveway. It's nice when you have a long driveway because it indents the picnic table to more of high quality privacy lines. Look at these trees. I got to show you this. Sometimes you just walk up to a site and you're blown away by the massiveness of the trees. So that's one of these, that's 36. So come up here, nice lot of places you could put your 10. Put your tent over there, right here. Picnic table fire pit. Interesting kind of mangled logs. There is a side trail over to 33. So we were over at 33 earlier and we looked over here. This is 36. So that's probably a ding on the privacy lines. It does have creek access, but this isn't the best creek. You get the ambiance of the sound, but I mean, this is kind of like, maybe I'll say dirty creek, like I keep saying dirty forest. There's variances in the quality of shoreline access, whether it's a creek or a river. And I would call that dirty creek. Like it's there. It's not a serene beach shoreline, you know, sparkling and inviting you to come hither. It's not one of those. It's more of just a dirty, you know, creek section. So I don't know. That wasn't my favorite. 36 is serviceable. I wouldn't pan it, but I certainly wouldn't include that in the top tier. Middle of the pack. Here's 37. Long driveway. You got 35 right there. The picnic table fire pit. So that's already kind of in your business. Look at that. That's way too close. So yeah, I'm going to already pan 37 just because 35, I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, 37. So we'll come over here. I don't like these inners as much as I think has been made clear. Picnic table fire pit, kind of claustrophobic. You have to put your tent right here. There's no other choice. As I've said before, I'll say it again, dirty forest. This is as dirty forest as it gets. When I talk about dirty forest, which I think is just my term, this is what I'm talking about. Like just kind of a underbrush, not very pretty, not pristine, just kind of like a gross, generic section of forest, like nothing special. That's what I call dirty forest. Again, I've never heard anybody call it that, but it's just kind of what I think of, and that's dirty forest right there. So between the dirty forest and the 35 proximity, I would pan 35 and 37. I'd say 36 is okay, but I probably wouldn't do that one realistically. So we're making progress on this loop. We'll be to the third loop before we know it. Second loop's almost done. I think this only has a few more. Here's 38. Good news is it's on the right side. There's a water pump on the opposite side. For bearings, there's 40, so I don't know what happened to 39, if there is a 39, but this is 38. And probably put your tent right over there on the left, maybe, or over there on the right. You got multiple locations. And ooh, it's a doubler. Maybe they consolidated 38 and 39 like they did that 33 and 34. Okay, so you can put your tent there, or you can put it over there, or you can put it straight ahead. Picnic tables, plural, fire pit. This is a multi-unit. And check out our creek. This is very pretty. I like this log junction. 3 or 4 major logs coming together. And then, yeah, pretty gorgeous section of creek. It's legit. This is a pretty zone. Actually, this is one of the better creek spots. Look at that. Very beautiful. You could actually get in that. I wouldn't be afraid to, like, if I had my swim trunks on, like, get in there, kind of cool down on a hot summer day. That seems legit. Yeah, this is pretty. I like this. This is a good one. And then look at this over here. It's getting better as I'm looking around. A nice long swath of creek. So I'm digging this. This is serene. And here's a little access point. It's also safe when you have like a log you can, you know, rest on, lean up against, use to pull yourself up, that kind of stuff. Nice to have a little jungle gym log while you're playing in the creek. So yeah, this is actually a really nice one. I like this one. This is one of the best creek ones just because this long, nice section here, this swath is legit. So this is a it's a top tier creek access one. You got panoramic creek exposure. You got some massive trees, look at that. That's ridiculous. So that was a good one. I liked, I think this was 38. 38 multi, obviously multi means more expensive, but big area if you have a big group and you want to be up against a creek. Now that said, I would still rather be up against a river. Like I'd rather do 17 or 19 or 21 or 22 or 23, but that's me. Continuing along, here is 40. 40 is an inner. You can see the restroom on the other side. Driveway, picnic table, fire pit. This is kind of a generic one, not so special. I will stop and pan up because these trees are pretty cool. Big, massive, giant trees, epic. I feel like I can hear running water. I don't know if that's just McKenzie carrying across or if there's actually water in here, but I think that's McKenzie carrying across. Picnic table. You guys, that trail is probably just to the restroom, I'm thinking. Yeah, this isn't good. I'm gonna pan 40. It's an inner up against the restroom, not really up against the feature. If there is a little creek in there, which I think there might be, it's like a low quality creek. It's the worst of the waterways. So yeah, we're just not too excited about 40, keeping it real. Here's our restroom. Here's 41. I think we're almost done with this loop. Here's our water pump. And here's 41. Ooh, it's got an epic feel. I'm gonna stop right here and just pan up. You can see the sun kind of coming through in these mangled mossy trees. This is legit. This has got some good feeling to it. Nice long driveway with a little post to stop you from driving into your campsite. And you come down here, picnic table, fire pit. This is nice. I'm digging it. There's something about this one. It just feels carved well. Ooh, and you look over there and you see just like this green little fantasy zone. I'm digging this one. There's something about this one just kind of makes you feel good. I don't know what it is. Certain je ne sais quoi. You can put your tent right over there or over here. Picnic table, fire pit. I don't really know. Let's see how it is with the water. I can tell there's a creek down here. Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice little section of creek. Come down here. So there's our section of creek for 41. I dig it. That's beautiful. So there's something about 41 I just liked. Like as soon as I walked into it, I felt happy. Just something about it being carved like really well into the forest. Can't really put my finger on it. Like it's really not the best site here, but it just felt good when you walked in. I don't know. Maybe it's the feng shui. It just kind of seemed like a neat site as soon as you got there. So we do have the restroom across the way, so that's convenient access for 41. I mean, let me turn around. You see what I'm saying? It just has this, I'm coming down, green over there. It almost feels like spotlit right here into your site. Kind of a flat zone, put your tent over there. You got a little bit of creek access. That one little creek spot was high quality, but it's not the best creek site here. There's a few more that were way better, like 28. So I liked 41. I will say it's an upper tier one. Not my pick, but I think I would actually like staying at 41. And I can't explain why, but you know what? I'm going with it. Again, here's the restroom. And I think we're almost done. I think this might be the last one for this loop. And then we get to turn around and go all the way to the final loop. So this is quite a campground experience. I didn't know how many sites there were when I started. I thought it was gonna be like 5 or 10. Here's 42. Remember, here's one of our main intersections for the campsite because it's the end of this loop. Nice long driveway. This has got more sun exposure than a lot of the other ones. Just how the angles are with the tree. So let me come up here. I'm blinded. So 42, if you're trying to avoid the sun, is probably a deal breaker. This is probably the sunniest site maybe I've been to out of the first 42. Come down here. Could put your tent there. Yeah, it's probably the spot, or right straight ahead. But then you'd be in between the fire pit. That doesn't make sense. So here's your fire pit. Here's your picnic table. Beautiful little section of, once you get down here, it's pretty well shaded. Beautiful little section of creek. Look at this. This is a premium zone of creek. So this is one of the better creek ones, 42. Look at that. That's pretty gorgeous. So 42's got good creek access. A little bit of a claustrophobic site, so I wouldn't pick it. Several of the ones to my left, like the last several, had huge swaths of forest that were well shaded. This is the most sun exposed site of the first 42. So ultimately I would not pick 42, even though it had a pretty decent creek access section. I think there was several other creek ones, probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 other creek ones that were better than that one. So 42, I would not do. Here is 43. Here's our campground road for bearings. This one, come around here, actually has a bit of a roundabout. Unusual. First one that's really got a proper roundabout, like maybe for an RV. Got your picnic table, fire pit. The main feature of this one seems to be the roundabout as the sun's coming out. So maybe it's very RV friendly, but beyond that, it's nothing special. Come down here, you got your fire pit. Just you could put a tent here, but if you've got an RV, you'll probably sleep in the RV. Little side trail, low quality side trail to a low quality section of creek. So I would not do 43, keeping it real. Really more of an RV play than anything. I mean, if you got an RV and you really want a roundabout, this is like the first turnabout roundabout I've seen at this entire campground, and we're into 43. So that's 43's claim to fame. Here is site 44. We seem to have hit the RV turnabout section. Here's another long turnabout. So these ones, the main feature is the square footage of the turnabout, the roundabout, so you don't have to turn around. But the sites themselves leave a little something to be desired. So again, here's your roundabout going back to the forest road over there. So high quality, well-paved roundabout. You come down here, you just got a kind of a generic picnic table, fire pit. Put your tent there if you're gonna tent, although you'll probably be in your RV. You can also put a tent over here. So really your feature is your turnabout roundabout. Dirty forest section, nothing special. Maybe a couple side trails off to like a little minor creek access, but nothing too special in my humble opinion. So this is definitely camping designed for a different type of camper than 1 through 41 were. These are more like RV, which is great. I plan to buy an RV. I'm an RV fan, but these are so focused on the turnabout that you really have nothing special about the actual campsite itself. Here is 45. Don't want to go that way. This is definitely the RV section. 43, 44, 45 all have turnabouts. So I'm walking through a turnabout right now. Picnic table, fire pit. See, here's your road back over, and you actually have 44 right there to your left. So yeah, not really a fan. The feature on these seems to be the turnabout and not the campsite itself. So generic section of forest, you got a picnic table, fire pit. I don't really see anything special about it. What I call dirty forest, not my favorite. And yeah, nothing to write home about, keeping it real. So I plan to buy an RV at some point. I don't have one right now, so I'm more of I got a Jeep Wagoneer, so I drive that. So 43, 44, or 45 don't have any appeal to me. The roundabout basically means you have a horrible campsite. So not a good trade-off for me. Here's 46, picnic table and fire pit. Some cool mangled trees. I'm digging the vibe. Again, another roundabout. Yeah, we definitely entered RV land in this section. The final loop is the RV loop. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just a different type of camping. You do have access down here to the creek. That doesn't seem particularly high quality, keeping it real. You could probably just go down there if you needed to, like, have quick water access, but not really an area to take a chair and just kind of sit and enjoy a creek. It's not wide enough for that kind of a setup. So here's 47. Man, I don't want to be repetitive about this roundabout thing. I think you guys get it. But another roundabout. Picnic table, fire pit. Paired right next to 48. You can see the sign 48 between those two trees dead ahead. And I think that's 48 and this 47. So these are kind of, I don't like how close 47 and 48 are to each other. Kind of feel like a group play if you get 47, 48 together. But look how far you are from the river. You've got kind of, oddly, you've got the creek between you and the river, the way this place is situated. So you have dirty forest, not really good access. I mean, you can see this is overgrown, dirty forest. And then you have the confluence, which is pretty, of the creek and the river. So right there is pretty, but you don't really have access to it. I mean, look over there, you'd have to swim across the creek to get to the other side of that, and it's not really a good access point. So not very good, keeping it real. Beautiful section of forest. I mean, I'll give the forest its fair shake. Let me look up. Look at this. Beautiful section of forest, to get that straight, but I don't know. I'm not digging 47. I feel like there's so many premium sites in the first half of this campground, the first 2/3 of this campground, that I'm just getting pickier and pickier. And so far, this upper loop is definitely the lowest quality of the three. So just keeping it real. Here's 48. Also has a roundabout. And I was just showing you that. 48, it has distant views in McKenzie, which are nice, but it doesn't have the shoreline access that we got spoiled with on 8 or 10 different sites over on the other side. You got 47 right there. You got 48 right here. I also have the roundabout for 48. So 48's the best of this upper tier so far because of the views in McKenzie, but not one I would personally pick. And here's 49. Is this a doubler? Might be a multi-site because I do see 2 picnic tables. Got a roundabout yet again. Yep, it says multi-site on the post. A lot of places to park here. Huge roundabout, really. Picnic tables and fire pit. Here's one of your parking spots. So yeah, great parking for 49. 49 is the best so far of this RV zone, this roundabout zone. Come up here and you can actually go down there, access the river, really actually the creek river confluence. And let's come over here. Look at this. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, this is gorgeous. Here now you feel like you're at the river. If you really wanted to be intrepid, you could climb down there a little bit, but I don't know, that looks kind of sketch to me. But down there is very pretty, very pretty. So 49 is the first one that really feels like a pretty high quality RV site, roundabout, turnabout site. You got 2 picnic tables. Looks like there's a little trail over here. This is probably just going to be to an overlook, but we'll take it because why not? And I see spiders. Maybe we won't take it. We'll stop right here. Sure, that looks like a pretty good view, but I saw 2 spider webs with 2 spiders. I'm like, you know what? I think I can live without seeing that. So let's move on to number 50. So 49, once we got to this upper loop, seemed to start at 43. I don't think there was a 42, but 43, and now we're through 49. Every one of them has a turnabout so far, so this is like definitely the designated RV section. 49 and 48 were the 2 best, but I think 49 is the best so far in this zone. But I dislike this loop the most because the first 2 loops were just too dang high quality. Here's 51. The numbering here makes me think I'm missing some, but they just literally skipped some, or they consolidated them in the past. So 51 actually looks pretty nice. Look at this, 51 looks pretty good. Here's your turnabout. I do want to see what the sign says. Yeah, that's 52 right there. So 52 right there. You can see McKenzie behind it. 51 right here. So 51 and 52 are kind of close to each other, but they seem premium overlooking National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. I like this sawhorse style parking block into the line where you want to stop your vehicle. And there's a bird hanging out here. Sorry, buddy, I don't mean to interrupt your stay. Here's your picnic table, your fire pit on the left there. Not good lot lines with 52. You see right there's 52. So beautiful site though. I really like how it overlooks McKenzie River. Let's come down here and take a look. Particularly blue-green, gorgeous section of McKenzie River. Raging and roaring, as you can see. Look at that. Look down there, my friend. Look at that. That is a gorgeous section of McKenzie River. That is beautiful. So there's your fire pit. There's our picnic table. So it's a beautiful zone. I like this area. Let me just pan up and show you all the trees. There's epic trees, Willamette National Forest. I don't love that there's no line of sight breakage to your friend over there, 52. Feels like a missed opportunity. It's such a beautiful zone. I wish there was some brushery or a couple of trees like right in the other side of the picnic table between you, so that it felt like you had your own little niche, your own little carved out zone. So that feels like a slight miss, but beyond that, just looking back, I mean, this is a gorgeous zone. Look at this. This is gorgeous. That's a good overlook. Frankly, I've been spoiled by the shoreline access of the first loop, so that would normally probably be a top-tier site, but I'm not nearly as impressed. Here's 52. Picnic table fire pit. Look at that view of McKenzie just coming up. Again, we already established that 51 is right next to it right here, so that's a little suboptimal. But here's your picnic table. Here's your fire pit. And here is our close trusted friend, McKenzie River. It's a little access down to it. Got to be careful because you can very easily fall. So I'll show you. Look at that. You actually have your own little access right into the river. That's pretty gorgeous. And look at that, my friend. Absolutely beautiful. So we're back to 52. It has a couple good McKenzie River views if you kind of precariously perch yourself on the edge of the shoreline, but definitely not anywhere you'd want to go sit down with like a chair. It just isn't set up for that. So that's 52. Again, I don't love the lot lines between 51 and 52, but they're decent quality. I think I was so in love with like 17, 19, 21, 22, 23 that these aren't as good in comparison. As I say that though, look at 53. From back here, 53 looks legend. I mean, looks like freaking mouthwash. Look at that. Looks like aqua fresh river straight ahead. You got your nice long driveway, and here's your picnic table fire pit. This, my friend, is legend. 53, now we are talking. I am digging 53. This is definitely the best on this side so far. This is giving me like truly epic vibes. Look at this. This is magic, my friend. Magic. Magic, magic. Look at this. Something about the shade and the light just kind of makes the blue-green come to life. I mean, that is a rich shade, my friend, a very rich shade. Look at that. Oh my gosh, and you even have this little shoreline access. Look at that. You can go all the way down to shoreline and enjoy this beautiful section. Let me come over here, and you got a second shoreline. Actually, that's an easier shoreline access. So you can access the shoreline right there. You got this mossy tree, and then you got that mossy tree right there. 53 is legend. That's the first one in this upper loop that I would actually like say is top tier. 53 is amazing. So this is 53. This is definitely a legend, top tier site. Picnic table, fire pit, gorgeous section of Willamette National Forest. And the river just keeps going that way. And look at that. This is your own swath, your own private section of National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. Oh, this is beautiful, my friend. So 53 is definitely legit. Again, you got your beach down here, and any able-bodied person should do it. You just got to watch your step a little bit, practice situational awareness. You got a second beach right there. Look at that. Here's 54. Got our main campground road. And this one looks legend. Look at how close that is situated to McKenzie River. You got a beautiful roundabout. This is, if you have an RV, this is your dream site right here so far, 54. Oh, this is legend. Pretty flat once you come down here. Actually, this is very good if you got anybody in your party that isn't very good at inclines. Put your tent right there, right here. Look, you can walk right into the river. There's perfect shoreline access. And look at this. You got your picnic table, fire pit. Let's imagine if we were sitting at the table from either direction. If you're just sitting right here, look at your view. You're looking back at McKenzie River. Like, this is truly beautiful. And come around here, if you happen to be sitting on this side, you'd think you'd have your back to the river, but no, you still have a pretty epic view. Look at that. That is beautiful. This is legit. Like, you got multiple access points. Come over here, got an access point right there. And you got obviously several access points down here. Like, this is legit. I am digging this. 54 is legend, my friend. Look at this site. I mean, this is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And you have so many awesome access points to the river. Like, I can't even decide which one's the best one. You got a dream rainforest, mossy wonderland, Willamette National Forest, low growth forest. You got high quality infrastructure, this picnic table fire pit, and National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River and its blue-green wonder raging and roaring on by. I don't know what's not to love about 54. 54 even has a roundabout. If you got a RV, 54 is definitely your site of choice thus far, my humble opinion. And it looks like I see 55 over there, presumably, but we'll keep going. Okay, so here's 55. Looks like 56 over there. So 55 looks legend. Look at this. These are just all good. Once we got to 53, like, these are all legend. This is the legend section of the upper tier. So there's 54. Here is 55. And situated right there, there's our water access point into McKenzie River. I want to make it clear, I wouldn't just go like swimming in there. That's a National Wild and Scenic River. That's very dangerous, my friend, but you do have water access. You do have your friend up there, 56. So here's 55, picnic table fire pit, your own little beach. Come hither, walk right into the river if so inclined. Of course, do so at your own risk. Practice situational awareness. I would not go swimming in there because that's very dangerous, keeping it real. But look at how beautiful that is. Got some white rips around this rock, and then it meanders on down this rainforest wonderland with here our picnic table and our fire pit. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is 55. This one did not have a roundabout, it just has a normal parking. And let's go over to 56, which is right there. Probably my only gripe with 55 and 56, look how close they are. You can see they're side by side. So 55 is legend on its own, like look at that water access, but the privacy lines are a little suboptimal. So I liked 54 and 53 better than 55, but I'm splitting hairs. 55 is still legend. 55 still makes the list. And here is our 56. I mean, I am in a forest wonderland. This area is epic. Paradise Campground is aptly named. Here's 56. I'm gonna go around from the vehicle perspective. And here is where we park. And here is our campsite and our fire pit, our picnic table. The good news is you don't have one right next to you like you do, so you have 55 over there. That's probably the only ding. 55 and 56 are too close to each other, I think. But if you grab them both as a group play, then that's ideal. But I am complaining because look at this. This is a dream. If you're just right here, you're already winning at life. You're already a happy camper, literally and figuratively. So you can't really complain too much if your site next to you is too close. Splitting hairs here. Here's our access to McKenzie River. Look at this, very beautiful. So this is 56, picnic table, fire pit, absolutely legend section of Willamette National Forest, all this green moss, all these rainforests, mossy, mangled trees, giving character to your shoreline. The blue-green National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River doing its thing, raging, roaring on by. I mean, look at this. This is legend. This is legend. You see why they call this Paradise Campground. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is like a CGI come to life. And I'll show you here our shoreline section. I mean, this is premium shoreline. Walk right into the river, although I wouldn't recommend it for safety reasons, but it's cool that you could. And look at this. I mean, I don't know how else to explain how awesome this is. Like, this is, I'm almost getting sensory overload. It's so unbelievably beautiful that I can't believe this campground even exists. I mean, the trees, the campsites, the river, it's all working together. It's all come together. It's all magic. So this is site 56. 56 is epic. I like 56 a little bit better than 55, but they're both pretty awesome. 53, 54, like this whole bank of campsites is legit, is legend. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful, my friend. So that was site 56. Let's continue along. So we explore this Willamette National Forest, rainforest wonderland. Shoreline of our close trusty friend, McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River. Again, there was 55, down there is 54, here is 56. Here is 57. It's kind of on the end. See, with 56 and 55 right here, doesn't look like 57 is going to be on McKenzie River. So 57, you park, probably the lowest quality one in a while, picnic table, fire pit, kind of some sort of secondary bench thing. That's neat. So I don't want to speak too soon. You do have you can put your tent straight ahead, picnic table, like a special second table. And then it looks like there is a little bit of trail down here, so don't want to be too hasty and ride it off too quickly. Looks like you come down here on 57. This is our side trail. And yeah, you do eventually come over to the river here. That's neat. You got a river access point right here, so that's cool. You can get to the river. This does give you kind of an area to play. Now granted, even this 57's side trail access is not as good as the natural shoreline at 56, 55, 54, or 53. So that said, it improves the quality of 57, but it doesn't bump it up into a top tier site. I would much rather still be at 53, 54, 55, or 56. So it's just not an automatic no. But all that said, there's so many other ones that are right on the river, I wouldn't pick 57, keeping it real. Looks like also 58's right there, so that's Portal Outlines. Got your friend right there. There's 58 and 59 coming and going down the same side road. But once you come up here, it's Fishbone. 59 goes that way, 58 goes this way. We'll do them numerically. Sequentially 58 first, and then we'll go on to 59. Here's 58. I don't like, you see there's 57 right there. There's 58. So I'm not a fan of 58. You got your picnic table, fire pit. You do have the creek right there, so that's in favor of it. But then 50, picnic table, fire pit. Presumably that's a side trail that eventually takes you down to the river a ways, but the proximity of 57 kind of above 58 for me is a deal breaker. So yeah, there's a little bit of creek access, a little bit of side trail, but considering there's over 60 sites here and there's like a dozen that are right on the river, why would you pick 58? That would be consolation camping in my humble book. Now here's 59. 59 I am not a fan of. This is inner, no feature, no creek, no river, nothing pretty. What I call dirty forest, picnic table, fire pit, kind of claustrophobic. Maybe put your tent right there and you're here, but that's about it. Yeah, 59, no bueno. So first one in a long time that I'm actually straight up panning. I would not do 59. 59 is not worth coming here. And here is 60. Looks like it's got a roundabout. So we're coming over here. We're on the inner, away from, it's like inner loop, inside of the inner loop. That's what I mean when I say inner. And we're not next to the river, we're not next to the creek. So, yeah, it's a pretty section of forest. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all relative, right? Like if you're from Oklahoma and you've never seen a forest, this might be the coolest campground you've ever seen in your life. This might be the coolest campsite you've ever seen in your life, but trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, it's claustrophobic. You put your tent either straight ahead or over there. Your fire pit's just on the other side of the picnic table, between that and the log. I guess you can sit on the log while you're tending the fire. That's convenient. But beyond that, oh, and then you got your 61 over there. So not only is this not up against a feature and in kind of a dirty forest claustrophobic zone, but it has a poor privacy line of sight. So once we got to like 57, 58, 59, 60, now 61, these are all not good. 53, 54, 55, 56 were legend. So what a difference a couple numbers make, right? Here's 61, nice roundabout, picnic table, fire pit, line of sight with 60, poor privacy lines, dirty forest, no creek, no river, kind of a generic boring section of forest. I don't like all this underbrush around you. It just kind of feels like dirty forest, as I've said. So this isn't particularly beautiful or special. For me, this doesn't take me into a Zen state of mind. It makes me feel like the area needs to be cleaned. Maybe that's my OCD, but so here's our fire pit and our picnic table. Neat stump, but yeah, it's got a turnabout. I guess it's good for an RV, but I wouldn't do 61. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, all not good. 53, 54, 55, 56, legend, right up against blue-green McKenzie River, National Wild and Scenic River. So I think we're almost done. We're getting to the last section. This might be the last one. There might be a couple more. We'll see. Looks like there's more. I think there's 64. Here's 62, another roundabout. I think this is going to be a consistent theme from the last few we just looked at. Roundabout's probably the most exciting part for an RV. Claustrophobic camping, you got very low square footage. Picnic table, fire pit. You could put a tent on the other side of the fire pit to the right. That's about it. This is not good. Pan. Sorry. I was on the shoreline of 56 and 55 5 minutes ago, and I was like sensory overload how crazy beautiful it was. And I come over here, and it's like, it's pretty easy to say, no, I don't think I like these ones as much. 63, nice long. This is a really nice roundabout, actually. This might be one of the nicest roundabouts here for 63. Picnic table, fire pit. Yeah, this roundabout's like wide, bigger than some of the other ones. This is maybe the nicest roundabout, but site itself, not so great. Picnic table, fire pit, low square footage, not even really places to put your tent. Like, I don't even know where you put your tent. Like right here? Like 63 is like, if you get 63 as an RVer, you're conceding you're sleeping in your RV, which is great. Probably more comfortable than a tent, but it's not even a place to put a tent for 63. You might not need a place to put your tent though. 64, I think this is the last one. Roundabout. It's exactly the same as I just said a couple times, so I won't even repeat it. 64 is the same as 63, 62, 61. Picnic table, fire pit. Yeah, not great. It's a little bit more room behind it, like you could get tents up there, but yeah. Once we got to 57, things really went south. 57 to 64 is like maybe the worst section of the whole campground, but I'm still trying to recover from the awesomeness of 56, 55, 54, and 53. Sensory overload of magic that is that section is pretty darn epic. So that completes the third loop. Exit is that way. Here's a restroom that is kind of right next to 64, the end of the line. Okay, so final thoughts. This is going to be a very difficult one to rank the campsites because there were so many high quality. Typically, whenever you go to a campground, there's a small handful of what I'll call premium sites, like legend sites, sites that are worth waking up at the crack of dawn and trying to get, or trying to get a recreation.gov at exactly 7 or 7:01 or whatever it is. So there's always a handful of, I'll say there's usually a handful of premium sites, distribution-wise, and then there's a bunch of mid-tier sites, and then a bunch of like wah-wah, consolation camping, not worth it sites that you're just happy to be in the area, but the site itself is not the draw. So that's a normal distribution of most camp sites. And I've noticed going and doing a lot of reviews of campgrounds that there's kind of a natural ratio that occurs at most campgrounds. Well, Paradise Campground here at Willamette National Forest has got to be one of the highest premium campsite ratios I've ever seen. Like there's probably 12 to 15 campsites here that would easily be the number one campsite at most other campgrounds. And I don't think that's an overstatement because I do a lot of campground reviews. I know a lot of the campgrounds very well. So Paradise Campground's got to be one of the highest quality campgrounds I've ever reviewed. It's actually going to be difficult in a good way for me to go back and decide exactly how I'd rank, order, priority them, because there were so many that were magic that it's kind of hard to separate them. Top of my head, at the beginning, I liked 1, 3, 5, 6. 7 and 8 were good, but I think 7 was Camp Post. And then when you got to that cluster 17, 19, 21, 22, 23, those were legend. So that's another cluster. Then I went and did the second row, the second loop, and that was more of a creek rainforest vibe. I think it was 28 that was really high quality, one of the best creek sites I've ever seen. So but there was 3 or 4 that were really high quality creek plays if you're more of a creek person. And you know, at some of the campgrounds, those would be the best ones at a creek campground. And then we go to the last loop, which is more the RV section. Most of them had turnabout, roundabouts. And the Legend First Class Premium Bay was 53, 54, 55, 56. So you add all that together, maybe there's 15 or so premium sites that, candidly, here's one of them, 17, got its own private beach shoreline right into McKenzie River. Probably around 15 campsites, and any one of them would easily be the #1 campsite at most other campgrounds. So Paradise Campground is aptly named. I don't know how this fell through my cracks personally. Like, I had never even heard of this. I happened to be driving by. I'm just doing campground reviews in the area. I didn't even pre-review this. I didn't know how many campsites there were when I started walking it. I thought it was gonna be 10 or 20. I didn't realize it was 64. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired because this isn't the first campground review I've done today. But well worth it. I mean, this is like bank air in your favor mentality. Like, I'm so glad I stumbled upon this. I really don't know how I missed it in my research. This is jumped to top tier. I might think that actually Paradise Campground is the #1 campground in Willamette National Forest, and I had never even heard of it until I happened to drive by it today. This area is legend. I'm very impressed. I'm definitely gonna start watching and, you know, book it and come here and bring my family. So I don't think I could give a higher recommendation. If you just watched this whole review, I appreciate it. Then you can tell I am a fan of this campground. And this is definitely one of my new favorites here in Central Oregon and in Oregon itself. I think there's about 15 sites-ish where if you were either able to snag any one of them, I really don't know how competitive it is in recreation.gov at this point. If this is a well-kept secret or very, very competitive as far as getting the good sites, I will find out when I look at recreation.gov. But if you can get one of about 15 sites, you, my friend, will be winning at life, and this will become one of your favorite campgrounds. You want to bring your family here every year. I think the juxtaposition of this high-quality rainforest with the mossy Willamette National Forest trees and National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River raging and roaring in its blue-green splendor is a very spectacular combination, a unique, one-of-a-kind section that, frankly, is giving off Olympic National Forest vibes up there in Washington. But if you're down here in Oregon, why not come here and pretty much get the same thing without having to drive 6 to 8 hours? So I gotta say, first time at Paradise Campground, and I am leaving a super fan. Here is the boat ramp launch, Paradise Campground, Willamette National Forest, Central Oregon. We got our signage there. It says boat unloading only. Please park in designated area behind me, picnic area. We've got our grooved corrugated boat ramp launch going smoothly into National Wild and Scenic McKenzie River. And look at that. That is gorgeous. Got that blue-green color, some white rips, raging and roaring. And let me come around here so we can get a better vantage point. You can see why it's a National Wild and Scenic River. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I am digging this. This is a beautiful zone, my friend. And there's just something about that blue-green color about McKenzie River that I find particularly gorgeous. Also like the juxtaposition of this green, glowing green moss. This little shoreline. Got this log here. I'll show you the actual access point. You can go smoothly into the river. Very high quality boat ramp launch. This is epic, my friend. The beautiful McKenzie River. And let's come back over here. We've got our signage, and it looks like we got a little side trail, so why not take this? This takes us to the shoreline to our right. And probably some spider webs, but we'll walk through these. Probably the first one here in a very long time. Today's April 10th, 2025. And look at how cool this is. This is a glowing green, mossy shoreline of Willamette National Forest, old growth forest. And look at that, that is beautiful. Man, I am digging this. This is a really high quality little shoreline access point. Very special, beautiful views of McKenzie River, National Wild Scenic River. I mean, look at this. This is pretty darn epic. Come back around here, and it gives us a money shot of absolutely incredible McKenzie River. This is incredible, my friend. So here's our restroom. Here is our side trail to day use picnic site number 1. Come in the direction as a car would approach it. The first one you hit. Looks like there's 2 picnic tables, and we are shoreline overlooking McKenzie River, so not actual direct shoreline access, but views of McKenzie River. Picnic table number 1, picnic table number 2. Let's go check this out. There's a side trail to the amphitheater, 8 wooden benches, about 30 to 40 person capacity. Kind of neat to go look at it. I think amphitheater might be generous, but it's technically an amphitheater. And here's our river access. I actually probably wouldn't even climb down that. That looks really dangerous, very steep, and I don't know if it's really worth it. You get one good view of McKenzie River, but there's much better places to look at it in this area with less danger. Here is day use picnic site number 2. You got a water pump. We'll walk up here. Looks like you got 2 picnic tables. You can see a fire pit. I did not see a fire pit at the first one. This one definitely has a fire pit, positioned on the overlooked shoreline of McKenzie River. I do like 2 better than 1 so far. This one just feels better. Better lot lines, better vibe. And here's your fire pit. You have a nice little view spot right here. Just like the last one, I probably wouldn't climb down there. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I don't really think you get anything out of it. You do have a side trail that way to the first site we looked at, and then that way you have a side trail to the 3rd day use site. There's 3 picnic day use sites here, and then the boat ramp is beyond that. These are day use picnic sites if you just want to come and hang out. I think the campground is so premium. There's the restroom, by the way. The campground is so premium, I'd rather come camp here than use this as a day use site personally, but different strokes, different folks. This is the day use parking zone. Straight ahead is the boat ramp launch. And here is our 3rd water pump for the 3rd day use picnic site. Come down here. Right over to our left here, down a short forest road, is the boat ramp launch. And this has only got 1 picnic site, 1 picnic table, I should say. The first 2 had 2 picnic tables. This one only has 1 picnic table. It's got a pretty cool table log stump thing. I always love these. I'm a sucker for this rustic type stuff. You do have a fire pit. It's a different type of fire pit than the last one. I like the last one a little better. It's higher up. Actually, you could see the picnic tables right here. So I'm not a huge fan of this design. You could literally see the people who are having a picnic next to you, and here's your picnic table right here. So that's not the best lot lines. Again, you can come down here and kind of get a sense of the McKenzie River. I wouldn't go down there. It's a little sketch. So 1 is probably my least favorite. I would rank them 2, 3, and then 1. So I wanted to capture all 3 of the day-use picnic sites. Candidly, I'm not blown away by these 3 day-use picnic sites. I don't think they're that great. I am blown away by the boat ramp launch, and I am blown away, more than blown away, by the campground itself, one of the highest quality campgrounds in Central Oregon I have been to. So I think camping at Paradise Campground is really the winner. That's what I would recommend. Here is the Paradise Amphitheatre. Let's go take a look. A clearly defined footpath. And I am already about to be there, seeing some seats, looks like pews, and don't know how big of an amphitheater this really is, but I think this is the amphitheater. Well, it's like 8 rows, maybe 40, 50 people capacity. I don't know if that's technically an amphitheater, but that's what they're calling it. Come down here. Kind of a dangerous spot right here. Yeah, it's like you keep going and that's pretty steep and you're just in the drink. So I don't know, I probably wouldn't even try to go down there. Beautiful McKenzie River.